And welcome back to another episode of the Rent Check. Here, Ashlee Woods. Here we are, 1-3. The Philadelphia Eagles, the bottom of the NFC East. The Giants 1-2. Right. So here we are. We're the bottom of the NFC East. Ashlee, I felt like Jalen had a good game on Sunday or yesterday. Sorry, it doesn't matter. Whatever. But Jalen had a good game. I thought he didn't have a perfect game, didn't have an amazing game. He wasn't going to have a better game than Patrick Mahomes. We all know that. Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league. I thought DeVonta played really well. He got the ball. He had over 7 catches for over 100 yards. He did his thing, but I think we all knew that this wasn't a game the Eagles were going to win. There were like a few Eagles fans here and there saying, "Oh, we might win this and that. Chiefs are 1-2." Wasn't going to happen. I don't know what you think, Ashlee, but it was not going to happen. We were not going to beat the Chiefs. And here we are, Monday, October 4th, 1-3. This is kind of what I expected, but.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I didn't think that we were going to win. I thought it was always going to be like closer than a lot of people thought because of the run defense of the Kansas City Chiefs. But we didn't really exploit that to the best of our abilities like we should have. But this was always going to be a game that was probably going to be a loss, no matter what the record of KC was coming into Lincoln Financial. So, but I'm very pleased with Jalen Hurts. He was 32 for 48, 387, 2 TDs.
Great numbers.
And didn't turn the ball over, didn't throw an interception. So that was key, just keeping the ball, not turning over the ball like he had.
I think he had one fumble though, right? But was that recovered by the Chiefs?
Well, I think it was recovered by the Chiefs, but it wasn't as it wasn't as detrimental as like maybe the pick 6 that we had
last week
against Dallas. He did a lot better job of like trying to protect the ball, and then of course DeVonta 7 for 122 yards. I mean, that's the kind of performance you would expect out of the person that you went up to grab at number 10. And like you saw a great contested catch for 40 yards. You saw what Eagles fans finally saw what they had been hearing about for like the past few months from DeVonta yesterday. So all in all, even though we didn't get a win, Jalen and DeVonta did do what they were supposed to do. There were just other factors that led to the Eagles' loss, not them in particular.
Yeah, and I'm also DeVonta almost had an even bigger day. Almost had a touchdown catch, but we saw it with Jalen Reagor in the San Fran game. Going out of bounds and coming back, reestablishing. It doesn't matter. It's automatically you can't. From what I understand, you don't have a position to get the ball anymore once you go out of bounds. I'm not sure of the exact rule, but DeVonta did the same thing. Almost had a touchdown. I mean, he was an inch out of bounds, but it doesn't matter. But nonetheless, DeVonta had a great game. Also, Ashlee, look, it's been a month now. I think we can, it's a quarter of the way, almost a quarter way into the season. I think it's safe to give our impressions on the first month through with both of these players. I think, I'm pleased. I'm pleased from the first month. I'm pleased. I think, Jalen has kind of been up and down. He had the really good game against Atlanta, just like the whole entire team had. The San Fran game, he was okay. Dallas game, he was bad. Really bad. And then against KC, he was good. So, this is kind of what, we were hearing out of training camp where he was having, good days and bad days. It's kind of what we're seeing throughout the course of the season so far. But overall, if you look at Jalen's numbers right now through 4 games compared to last year through 4 games, it's good, solid. I think as Eagles fans, we got to be patient. And we had to know this coming into this year. And I know Eagles fans, it's hard for them to be patient. Philadelphia sports fans in general, it's hard to be patient. But you got to be patient with Jalen. Through 4 games, I'm pleased. DeVonta, I'm pleased so far. When he's gotten his opportunities, he's made, for the most part, the most of them. So I'm happy with both of them so far through the first month of the season.
Yeah, I think really you pointed it out. Patience is key. This is kind of Jalen's like rookie season. I mean, he spent 12 games on the bench being Carson Wentz's backup last season, and then was thrown under the fire the last 4 games in the midst of a very tense QB controversy. And he was in for a couple gadget plays before he was officially named a starter, but he wasn't getting the starter reps like he was until the back end of the season. So this is kind of just like Jalen's like rookie season, kind of getting adjusted to, the speed of the game and like being the starter, having a team to yourself, and like, getting first team reps and everything. So just being patient with Jalen. He's going to make mistakes, and you've heard it. Like you said, you heard it all training camp. He's been up and down, and that's kind of been him throughout his career, even going back to Bama and his high school days. He was very much up and down. Some games he'll have great games. Some days he'll have like really bad games, and games that he will be okay and serviceable. So that's kind of like the nature of Jalen Hurts and kind of what you're getting out of him. So I just think if we just stay patient with him and we kind of see more and more improvement, we'll be fine. But until we see some really, really, really drastically bad games and it's a pattern, I don't think we need to worry about anything with Jalen. And as far as DeVonta, he just needs to get a little bit more reps. I mean, DeVonta's like, he's not being targeted a lot. He's also not on the field a lot, and a lot of times he's getting double teamed. So like players kind of know, like teams know the threat that he is. So that's why you're kind of not seeing like high up numbers, because he's being double teamed or he has like press coverage, which he's good against, but he's a lot better at man. So that's kind of like where you're not seeing like the high numbers that a lot of people kind of expected going in, but he's still done a great job. I mean, drawing penalties, grabbing contested catches, putting his team in the position to where they can be successful. That's what you want out of your alpha receiver, your number one guy. So they've both been good for the first part of the season, kind of like the growing pains that you would expect out of like a first year starter and then a rookie player.
Yeah, and I think you said it right there. Growing pains. Like the Eagles are not going to be a winning football team this year, in my opinion. They're not. You're seeing it right now. What we're looking for this year is, progression going forward for future years. And, hopefully we're sitting here at the end of this year. Maybe they do win more games than they lose. Who knows? But we're looking to say, is Jalen the guy? And, is he the franchise quarterback going forward? And is Nick Sirianni the guy? And honestly, before we go, real quick, Sirianni is not. I think he could be. Play calling has not been good. I think that much of it can be on him. Look, Miles Sanders, your star running back. We've seen when you use him correctly, he will put up the numbers, and he's not getting enough carries. Ashley, enough carries, and I know John Barchard will see this because we're going to be sending this to him. But much of this, as it is on Hurts having some of these bad games and the offense not performing super well certain games, and us being 1-3, as much of that we're attributing to Nick Sirianni. But again, growing pains. First year head coach through 4 games. Ashley, first year head coach through 4 games. Remember that not everyone can win 12 games in their first season. It's not like that. The NFL is a really hard league. Please remember that. That's all I have for my closing remarks, Ashley. Any closing remarks from you?
Yeah, I mean, play calling could be a lot better. I mean, it's Nick Sirianni's first year, and you heard the noise from Indianapolis brass that how like Frank Reich loved the way that he constructed the offense back in Indianapolis, and you're kind of not seeing what Frank Reich talked about in Philadelphia. So you're kind of just wondering, like, man, what did the Eagles really get out of a head coach? And it's not great so far, but again, he's a first-year head coach, and even though Sirianni was scheming plays and kind of guiding Frank Reich was like the play caller in Indianapolis, so he doesn't really know a lot of the nuances yet, and he's gonna learn, and if he doesn't, he gets the can. The whole running back situation, the rushing game, I mean, to go from what we did in Atlanta to kind of where we are right now, it's kind of inexcusable, but at the end of the day, we'll see how that kind of grows. If not, we got to have a conversation because we could be losing a star running back in Miles Sanders. I know we have Kenneth Gainwell, but it's nice to have that kind of 1-2 punch in the backfield. And we're not using that to our advantage.
Also, like, all right, so you said Sirianni can get the can. Are you saying he's going to get the can after 1 season?
I mean, not after 1 season.
Yeah.
I don't think they would do that. I mean, they'll probably give him another chance, but if we don't see marked improvement for like the next 2 years, who knows? He probably could get the Kansas, and we're back in a coaching search again. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't want to deal with that. So,
Me too.
I mean,
seriously,
play calling has to drastically improve because you have. I know this is just like a terrible term, and it's like kind of like, you know, it's taboo, but you have a dual threat quarterback in Jalen Hurts where he can get you with his arm, but he also can get you with his legs. And we're not seeing a lot of rollouts for him. We're not seeing a lot of like play. We see play action, we see RPOs where they're not executed well. So that's a lot of things that we have to, that falls on Sirianni and, you know, getting that right in practice so it comes out on the field. That's less on Jalen and more on the offensive coordinators and the coaches. And, you know, also it does fall on Jalen as well because on game day, the coaches are out there throwing the ball. It's him. So it's a balance between the two of them this season. But Sirianni does have to call better plays. He has to be a lot better at situational football, you know, not calling like dumb trick plays in the red zone. You know, you just gotta, there's gotta be, you just gotta call better plays at better times and really put your quarterback for success. And now if you're calling a good game and your quarterback is not executing the plays, that's a different discussion. But right now it's kind of been like Jalen's executing the play calls and they're terrible. Or Jalen's not executing, but the play calls are great. And then like one game, it's Atlanta. Yeah, the one game, Atlanta, everything was perfect. And
it happened to be the first game of the season, which is nuts.
Anyway, it was nuts.
I just want to point out before we leave, I am wearing Eagles gear. Ashley is wearing Alabama gear. You know what though? I was gonna get at you for that, but this is the run check. This is what we do. We combine. The two guys from Bama for the Birds. That's it. That's the run check. We'll see you guys next week.